You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
So ESPN, they did a staff report where they took their top 25, like they're way too early, top 25, and went down each team and listed a breakout player for said team. LSU, of course, number 12 right now on the way too early, top 25 for ESPN. And Mark Schlabach, for what it's worth, is the staff member who was tasked with naming or picking his breakout player for LSU in 2024. And Schlabach tabs Caleb Jackson, running back Caleb Jackson. It's a great pick. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. I think everybody's excited to see more from Caleb Jackson because the little bit of taste that we got from him last year was, whoa, wow. Everybody wanted to see more of him actually in the ball game as it progressed. Schlabach does mention, in his write-up, the already viral moment that Caleb Jackson had when he disgraced that young man and his family for Mississippi State when he just shoved him into the turf. And, the powerful running style, how it's been compared to Leonard Fournette, how Jesse Palmer compared Jackson to Saquon Barkley, 165 yards and 4 touchdowns as a freshman. It was a great year, and I think we all expect big things from Caleb Jackson moving forward, and we're excited. I mean, people were started to be excited to see him after he broke that long touchdown in one of the spring scrimmages, or maybe it was a fall or spring scrimmage. I can't remember which one. They were in Tiger Stadium. I think it was fall, and it was a screen pass or a screen or a swing, one of the two. And I mean, he took like 85 yards, and everybody immediately was just like, Caleb Jackson, like, give us more Caleb Jackson, give us more Caleb Jackson. So absolutely a breakout candidate, and LSU is going to have that. That being a stable running game, because you lose all the yards from Jaden Daniels. And Brian Kelly's talked about that already here early in spring practice about how they go about doing that, whether it, with the stable running backs that they're going to have. You're really thin there right now, but Caden Durham's obviously going to come in out of the 2024 signing class, so he'll be a part of your backfield. You have Josh Williams. Like, you're going to be able to build those numbers back up. And Brian Kelly, when talking about the running game, shifted it more towards the offensive line and how veteran that group is and how they will be able to help open up holes and really, create a dynamic running game for LSU. So while I like the pick from Schlabach being Caleb Jackson, I decided that I would go ahead and give you a breakout player from my point of view, one on offense and one on defense. Excuse me. Because obviously we know what LSU needs to do on defense. And as we talked about earlier, I mean, the offense is all the rage right now. They're just going to keep on rolling. So this is what I came up with in that regard. Let's start offensively for LSU, the breakout player. Like I said, I love the pick of Caleb Jackson there from Mark Schlabach, but I think the easiest place to see someone able to break out here is in the receiving corps. Because with Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback, LSU's going to sling it, y'all. Like, we know that, right? They're going to sling it. Excuse me. So that's where I went. I was like, okay, who there? Kyron Lacey stands out, right? Kyron Lacey's kind of got that Terrace Marshall thing going on for him this year, where he was, a great third option for you behind Thomas and Neighbors, like Marshall was behind Chase and Jefferson. You really started to see the flashes for him, and now maybe he's going to be looked upon to be the guy this year, but I didn't go that route. For me, it was pretty easy. I went Xavier Thomas because I look at him and I see a guy already that has averaged 12.4 yards per touch in the SEC. I look at a guy who has been a All-American returner, and that absolutely factors into this. I know we played the audio a few weeks ago of Brian Kelly talking about, the value they place on returner right now with its place in college football and whatnot. But, I mean, Xavier Thomas is looked upon to absolutely be a game changer and game breaker there. So that's another area he can impact this team in the game and potentially break out. And also in that factors into the 12.4 yards per touch. But the 503 yards that he had on 42 receptions last year at Mississippi State is probably the most impressive thing. And that is solely because Mississippi State looked like they did not have a clue what they wanted to do offensively last year under Zach Arnett. And that guy was still able to be productive enough to get over 500 yards and 40 grabs and a score in that offense. You put him into an offense with a quarterback like with a quarterback like Garrett Nussmeier who just wants to sling it, and a guy calling plays in Joe Sloan who's going to let him do that. I love the breakout potential for a guy like Xavier Thomas, and then add in the fact that he's going to be able to impact the game in the return game as well. I think he's going to just be huge for LSU in 2024. On the defensive side of the ball, it was a little bit harder to find out a guy that you're like, man, breakout, who's it going to be? Because you need help, secondary, obviously. Linebacker, you have options. You're going to move Harold Perkins back inside. Defensive line, you really still need to bolster your numbers there. All of that. But when I really sat down and thought about it, one guy popped into my mind. And it's Braden Swinson. And I don't think we're talking about Braden Swinson enough so far in this offseason. So go back to last year. They're going to move Harold Perkins inside. You need somebody to rush the passer, play that jack spot. B.J. Ojolari's off to the league. They brought in Ovie Agofu, and everybody thought it was going to be him. He was the guy tabbed to do that. And they missed on him. It didn't work out. But Braden Swinson really emerged in that role last year. When you look at all the problems LSU had defensively last year, and there were plenty, Braden Swinson was one of the bright spots. 35 tackles. 6.5 tackles for a loss. 3 sacks. And a team high 9 quarterback hurries. Team high 9 quarterback hurries. That's the thing. He wasn't always getting home, but he was always impacting the game off the edge. LSU's going to need somebody to be that edge rusher this year. And when you look at an aggressive style defense like Blake Baker plays, Braden Swinson could easily fit into that. To show you how disruptive he was in his one season at LSU and where that breakout potential really lies for him here in 2024 now in Blake Baker's system, go back and look at his 3 years at Oregon before he transferred to LSU. He appeared in 30 games. So in 30 games at Oregon over 3 years, 35 tackles. He had 35 tackles last year in 12 games at LSU. 5.5 tackles for loss at Oregon. He topped that number 6.5 at LSU last year. 3 sacks at Oregon, 2 at LSU, but still comparable. And then you have those 9 quarterback hurries that led the team. Y'all, he equaled in that awful defensive year that LSU had last year. He equaled or surpassed his highs that he accumulated in 3 seasons at Oregon. And now you're going to give him to Blake Baker? Yeah. I'm ready to watch Braden Swinson in 2024. I think he can have a massive impact for LSU's defense come the fall. And I cannot wait to see it. So those are my potential breakout players for LSU in 2024. Give me Xavier Thomas on the offensive side of the ball. Give me Braden Swinson on the defensive side of the ball. And like I said, play ball's pick, Caleb Jackson. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of him too. And I think we're all ready to do that as well.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.